Hey everyone, it is
Hi.
me, Lennon Baracha, hosting the mental health panel with some of my amazing Stream Queen siblings. I am the new winner of Animal Crossing Drag Race. Happy birthday to Chad. I'm so sorry. I will give you my crown. Everybody's mad at me, but blame Diana. I'm just going to put that out there. Blame Diana, not me. I just wanted to show up and win the competition. We are going to talk about mental health in the capacity of what it means to be someone who goes through highs and lows during their daily lives, on Twitch, off Twitch, in drag, out of drag. I'm excited that we have some amazing siblings on Stream Queens, some near, some very far away. So I'm going to start out to my left, which is Rose. Rose Fred, how are you, bestie? How's it going? Do you want to tell everybody who you are, what your pronouns are, just in case people don't see it on the screen? And we want to make sure that we respect everybody when asking questions and talking in chat. I think that mental health is very important, and we are going to get maybe a little bit deep down into some conversations. So please just respect and make sure that we have a good conversation and enjoy it. So, Rose, I'll let you go first.
So hi, I'm Rose. I'm showcasing my drag king today, chrysanthemum, which is chrysanthemum, but in French because I sadly am French. It is currently 1 a.m. for me and I have work tomorrow, but I'm here. My pronouns are they, she in general. I also use he for this drag king, but I'm fine with they for tonight. It's okay. And yeah, I've been a new addition to the Stream Queens very recently, and I'm so happy to be part of the panel. The Stream Queens Con has been one thing that I've absolutely wanted to join. So happy to be here.
Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And to my right of me is the most toxic Fortnite player I know. It is the one and only drag king Kiyoshi Yorha. Hi, Kiyoshi. How you doing?
Hi, London. I'm doing good. I'm actually very excited for today. My name is Kiyoshi Yorha, pansexual, non-binary drag king here on Twitch. Stream a variety of games. I do focus on puzzles. I'm really getting into my collab era and doing Lethal Company recently with some friends. And in drag, I go by they, he.
They, he. They, he. What do you go by in Fortnite when you just annihilate the competition?
A toxic fish.
And what about in Fall Guys when you're a toxic? What are you?
Nasty pigeon bitch.
Nasty pigeon. Okay.
Nasty pigeon bitch. Here we go.
What's the phone number again? Hold on, let me just Google that real quick.
Speaking of phone numbers, we have the I forget the word for it. Dungeon leader, dungeon master,
Dungeon Mixtrix.
Oh, Dungeon Mistrix. I'm so sorry. I apologize. Lucy, how are you today, bestie? What's going on?
I am fantastic. Hello, lovelies. I am Lucy McGillicuddy. I am the hostess of Shady Gaming, which is a rotating drag cast of gamers and freaks and weirdos who play a real smorgasbord of variety gaming, from top of the line AAA releases to bottom of the barrel filth. I'm also the Dungeon Mixtrix for Stream Queen's own Wigs and Wyverns, season 1. It's Sunny and Barovia. And I'm just a huge happy to be here.
Yeah.
Oh, and my pronouns are and all. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Thank you for letting us know. I appreciate you. Right below me. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm a lazy Susan of gender. You can't misgender me if I don't have one.
Oh.
True.
Honestly, slay. That took me a second to process, but I was like, wait, slay. Right below me is one of my favorite makeup artists on Twitch. It's Kitten Tiramisu. How are you, bestie?
Hi. Hi everyone. I'm Kitten Tiramisu, everyone's favorite drag queen pick-me-up. And apparently London's favorite makeup artist.
It's so good.
Wow. So I am a glamorous, vintage-inspired queen who goes by she, her in drag. I mostly, I enjoy single-player games, story-based things. I love a good story. Don't we all love a good story?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Only thing my creative writing degree is good for.
I wish I could read.
You can ingest stories via games and via film content,
My
also
ear holes.
Content creator.
auditorially.
Mhm.
Please. I love it. And then what are your pronouns, kitten?
Oh, she, her, and drag is what I go by.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then last but not least, one of my favorite people, we were trying to watch 100 movies by the end of this year. I don't know when that's going to happen, but one of my favorite people to lurk late night. I literally leave you on lurk every time I go to bed. It is Lady Lay on the tele.
Hi everyone, my name is Lady Lay. I'm a drag queen from Aotearoa, New Zealand. I love all things horror, and I've got multiple diagnoses. Let's go.
Let's go. And for Marisol Lords, unfortunately, we will be not answering questions regarding to Lady Lay's sunglasses today.
Mhm.
So,
We will
What was
not.
the question? What is under the
Lady Lay,
sunglasses?
can
What
you-
is under the sunglasses is what I am showing is mental health. What is
Mm,
under the
Mhm.
sunglasses is maybe a not so much of that health.
mm.
It's the story.
It's the mask.
Stories.
Yeah.
Back to Kid and
Yeah.
back to Kid and Tiramisu. It's
Come on,
you know,
masking.
stories. It's layers. There's a beginning, middle,
Mhm.
and an end.
Mm.
well, yes. So talking about mental health, everybody has mental health, whether it's high or low. Some of us are more willing to talk about it than others, which is okay. I'm not saying that it's not okay. So I appreciate everybody being here to talk about it. So that being said, what are some day-to-day tasks that people or yourselves struggle with when it comes to having a low impact on your mental health? That's how I'm going to phrase mental health, is high impacts and low impacts, because
Okay.
yeah, I'm just going to phrase it like that. If you would like to phrase it in a different way, then feel free to, but it's okay to have low mental health days, or low spoons is what people call it. So if you're willing to share, what are some low
That's a loaded question, baby.
Yeah, it is a loaded question. We're just going to kick right off.
Because for me, it's literally, and I'm glad you used the spoons analogy. 'Cause that's one that I stick to the most, because it makes
Yeah.
sense to me. It's random for me every day, because basically my brain goes, if I don't do this task, will I die? If I don't do this task, will I get fired? If I don't do this task, will someone get hurt? No, good. Then I'm not going to do that task if I have no spoons. So like, it literally took me 3 weeks to. I did my laundry. It did not get put away in a timely manner, but it got put away yesterday, all of it. Because it's time. I have a hookup. I don't want them to see this.
Yes.
And which is a way that you can, improve your mental health. But you know what I mean.
Distraction.
Distraction, yeah. Lady Lay, I know that you were thinking, it looked like. Do you have anything to contribute to this question in this moment in time, or do you want me to come back to you?
Yeah. So was the question? Oh, sorry. I
No,
can
you're
check
totally
back
fine.
to
The
the
first one.
Where was?
What are the day-to-day tasks
It's
that
in the
most
chat.
of
Perfect.
it's in our
Perfect.
chat, in our call chat.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it sounds silly, but getting up can be a very tough one. I think it's because, like, a lot of the time going to sleep can be tough. I know that a lot of people who have, either trauma or, like, I mean, there's lots of different reasons, but alone in bed at night tends to be at least my most vulnerable. It's like difficult to make sure I can calm myself to go to sleep. And then it's so difficult then to wake up in the morning, and it's like, yeah. And it can also even times be like self-sabotagey if, like, the feelings that I'm having are relative to, like, my worth.
Yeah. Do you does any, like, I don't know if you go through this, but like when I'm having like a low mental health spoons day, it's like I'll get up, maybe like 5 more minutes, maybe 6 more minutes, maybe 10 more minutes. And then like it's like been 4 hours and I'm like still in bed. And I'm like, I have to do things today. So maybe I should like attempt to do it, but then things like don't get done. So and then I try to justify why I didn't get out of bed in like a positive manner. Does anybody else like feel like that at all in any form of way? Kiyoshi?
Every day.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I also wanted to like piggyback or go off of what Lady was saying earlier about like sleeping, like even going to
Yeah.
sleep sometimes. Like there was definitely it definitely takes a while, and I have to distract myself and watch. I lurk in streams, which is what I do often. I play my YouTube videos. Shiny hunting has been the most recent thing that like puts me to sleep. 'Cause I just wait for something to show up, and then my body just says, "Okay, we're done." But yeah, if I don't have any of those distractions, it definitely takes a very, very long time for me to go to sleep. There was definitely one time where I was in a very vulnerable moment, and I had everything off. I started crying, and I felt like existential crisis, essentially.
Yeah.
And it happens rarely, but when it does, it's like it feels like I'm gonna explode. Uh, and yeah, that's definitely one of the. It's definitely a lot better now, thankfully, but it doesn't happen as often. But I definitely like vibe with that too, for sure.
Mm.
Kitten, and I will call you Chris if you don't mind.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Kitten or Chris, is there anything that you wanted to contribute to this conversation or this question per se?
Sure. I guess sometimes, when I'm having an off day, the thing I mostly try to tell myself is sometimes I just accept that a bad day is a bad day. It's like, there's maybe nothing I can really do to turn this day around. But that doesn't mean that tomorrow won't be a better day. And that's why I tell myself that, I do have things to look forward to, that it can get better. And even a bad day can still turn around, if you do things that I'd like to think help me, like hang out with friends or
Mhm.
watch a video I really like, something like that.
Something low
Chris, what
impact.
about you? Yeah, something like small, like step by step, which I think is like part of the next question I will ask. So if we lean into it, Chris, you can feel free to. But is there anything that you wanted to talk about when it's like, what are some day-to-day tasks that you tend to struggle with when it comes to like low spoons, say?
Yeah. I don't have that low spoons or high spoons thing with day to day. Like it's more about how I will interact with people depending on what I've done the day before. If I've done more than 2 or 3 big things in my day, I know that I'm taking energy off the next day. But I don't see huge repercussions in in helping me get up, etc. Like I will get up, I will kind of push through, and it's
Mhm.
maybe because I've been misdiagnosed with dyspraxia. I do think that I have ADHD, but ADHD in women is very badly diagnosed. So I have to get re-diagnosed for that and have the correct help. But I also grew up with a big stigma around cleaning up and keeping a space tidy. So in general, my space is not tidy. My space is not really clean. And it's something I'm trying to work on. But as my mental health gets better, because I've been in therapy for most of my life, to be quite honest, as I'm working with outside of the space that was not that very safe for me, I'm learning to take care of my space, learning to take care of myself, and it's a journey. It's a journey, but I'm in the middle of it where I cannot really. It's the last 2-3 years I've been really starting to see what tires me and what allows me to do stuff. And yeah, for example, I canceled the gig IRL because of the mental health panel. I was like, I
Yeah.
cannot do both. I have to
Yeah.
choose.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you choosing us and your, online siblings and your in-person siblings. We love you. Thank you for being here. I personally feel where you're coming from of like, it's not like a low spoons or high spoons thing. It's just like how I go about my day and how I interact with others. As a drag artist who performs every weekend, it's kind of tough like having like those days because like people think that you always have to be on and always in like a a great mood to interact with them, and so it does suck that you do have to push through things sometimes because you don't want to be a host of a show and then go have people being excited to see you but then you being like in a not so great headspace, react badly toward them, and they're like, well, why is this person so mean to me? I'm never coming back to the show again. So it's like you just have to push through things, but which will bring me to like maybe I'm gonna like kind of pop around if y'all are okay with it.
Yeah, go ahead.
But
Go for it.
does drag improve your mental health or make it like
Depends on the day.
okay, let's talk about it. I mean, we are on Stream Queens, Stream Queens Con. Yeah, go ahead.
Drag is a lot of spoons to get on, especially if you want to do good drag. And I
Thank
feel
you.
guilty every time that I have to stream and be in either quick drag or no drag, and I feel like I'm just shorting it to my viewers. But I'm like, I need this time for myself. I don't have the hour and plus to get ready at the moment. So I love drag and it's beautiful, but at the beginning of this year, I made too many manic. I made too many. What's it called? When you dedicate some. When you don't.
You use too many spoons, maybe?
I'm running out of things at the
Hyperfixate?
moment. Not hyperfixate, like when you say you're going to do something for someone. Commitments.
Commitments.
I made too many commitments in a manic state at the beginning of this year, and now I'm fucking paying for it.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
I definitely agree with Lucy. Like, drag definitely takes up a lot of spoons for sure, and it definitely, like, as of recently, I'm in the same boat too. Especially since we're on Stream Queens, it definitely feels like we have to be in drag on stream every stream, and it kind of makes sense because like if we stream, they're gonna look through that list of people, amazing creators, amazing drag artists, and see our art being shown live. But that definitely does play into like streaming. But I've recently taken in the streaming and doing drag at the same time. I definitely have taken that away and now focusing that on other, like I'm going to be doing drag for YouTube videos because that's something a lot more manageable and whatnot. And streaming can just be a place where I can build a community, talk to people. But yeah, I think drag definitely, it depends. For me, drag is a lot to get into, but at the same time, drag is also very gender euphoric for me. So being in drag, feeling sexy and feeling hot, that makes me feel very powerful. And I think we all basically feel the same way about it too.
Yeah.
So there's like both of those.
And Rose, Rex, I know you're a fan of the show. This might come as a surprise to you, but episode 8 of Wigs and Wyverns, right before, and Portia Gesa and the rest had front row seats to my absolute fucking mental breakdown. There's a reason why that episode is like so DM light and more of a character backstories, because like literally as I was getting ready, I just had one of those scream, put my hands on the desk, slam, and just slide everything off in just rage moment. And like everyone saw it, and I'm like, I just felt so embarrassed, and I kept apologizing, like, no. Listen, you're good. But it happens to all of us, and we can't let ourselves be embarrassed by that. It happens to literally every person.
On my side with drag, it helped me a lot because I'm an artistic at heart, and drag just lets me express a lot, whether it's when I'm performing or when I'm putting on makeup. It's kind of like stimming, where I do precise repeated movements on my face. But also I do have a lot of anxiety when I put on makeup, because I'm kind of like, if something goes wrong, I'm like, I'm stupid, it's done, it's not good, etc., etc. But it's also making me learn to push through and trust myself and trust the process. And I'm gonna link it with what Kiyoshi said. Actually, streaming myself getting ready kind of takes off that pressure, because I'm not doing it alone. I have people I can talk to while I'm painting. And in my brain, I'm like, people are watching you. They're here to spend time with you. And it's kind of like, it's not something that's putting me pressure on, but it's more like, I want to have a good time with the people that are here with me. And I know that I can do good, and I know that I can do it. In the middle of my stream, while I was getting ready, I fucked up one of the lines, and I had to erase and redo it again. And on stream, I was like, this is stupid. I shouldn't have done that. And I went on a tiny rant, and then I caught myself. And in the chat, I had, "You're gonna do it. You're gonna pull through." And just those messages kind of helped me ground myself back and not spiral. So yeah, drag is kind of a double-edged sword. Well, the process leading up to being in full drag is very stressful, but once you're in it, it's that high and that rush of like, the character that I have in my head, the thing that I've created from piece to piece is on me, and I'm finally embodying it. And it's that freedom of being able to express it that really helps.
It works out in the end, a lot of the times, but like the process and maybe being in it at some points are good or positive or negative, depending on what situation you may or may not be in. Lady Kitten, anything? Does drag improve mental health? Make it worse? What do we
Kitten can
think?
go first.
Thank you. I guess to kind of piggyback off of Chris about the creative aspects, I think, oftentimes when I'm not doing well, I can find myself in a slump. I really find that drag really kind of helps me push out of that, because I can like create a look. I can go through all the clothes I have, and I can just put things together, and I can maybe try something new with makeup, or just really like do something and maybe go outside of my comfort zone, and that can kind of get me out of a slump.
Go ahead, lady.
I think like for me, like, does drag improve your mental health or make it worse is complex, because would I be doing drag if I didn't love it and it didn't make me happy? No, I wouldn't. So I think we can all agree with that. It's just, I feel like drag does have a cost financially. Like, oh, let me get, more looks, more hair, more accessories, more makeup, and then the time. And so losing time to something and losing money to something, especially on like a smaller budget, like that can already create a stress. So that while it's something that's like, yes, it like adds another stress. And then also whether you're whenever you're joining into like any kind of community, I'm sure this is like in any community, but some people will like you, some people won't. And it can be really struggling. It can be really hard to enter spaces where, this one thinks you're that and that, and the other one thinks you're this, and oh, look at them snickering over there. And it's like, I deserve to be here. I think I'm really cool. I love my work. And but that can also take a toll. And then it's like the spaces that you're inhabiting yourself in, whether or not they're not always positive spaces, I guess. I think that's a reason why I do love Stream Queens on Twitch, because I feel like it's a lot safer, it's a lot more accepting, it's a lot more accessible than say the drunk skinnies at the club. But yeah, so there's like so many different, it's complex. Like drag is amazing and I love it and I love being creative. But there's so many different things that it actually has affected in my life as Leighton outside of Lady Bay, I guess, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
And I'm like so glad that like these questions are so conversation startery because
Yeah.
I'm like, I
Mhm.
know the questions that I put out there so you all can answer them in the ways you want to, which made me so happy. So thank you for all your answers. But I agree with all of them. I do resonate a lot with Lady because like being in drag in like certain spaces, I'm like, can I be here? Like, is this a place that I can be at or
Mhm.
like people want me to be in? And like, well, why am I in drag if someone doesn't want me here? Now what am I gonna do? And I'm like, wait, no, I'm just gonna stay in my lane, do the drag that I do. And if someone doesn't like it, that's okay. You don't have to. Not everybody, like you said, is gonna like you. And like
Yeah.
it's a lot sometimes. And I'm talking more in person drag
Mhm.
in certain spaces, but I mean sometimes it happens online too. I like to think that we try to get along with everybody in spaces so we don't have to feel like that. But you know, some things happen at some points. Moving along, I'm gonna ask questions about intersectionality. So I want to do clarify what I just said. How does intersectionality, considering multiple aspects of identity, so this also has to talk about drag, not drag, impact mental health experiences? So I know we just kind of talked about it with drag, but is there any extra stuff where people want to talk about intersectionality? That could be like being like a person of color, being like part of the trans community, being like a drag king, anything like that, like any type of intersectionality at all. And how does that impact mental health experiences with y'all personally, if you feel like touching on it, or just like maybe things that you've seen in spaces that you've been in?
Could you, oh yeah, sorry, no, continue.
No, go ahead. Could I?
I was going to ask you to define a word, but I feel like I might sound like a stupid loser if I ask you to define a word. So I'm going to do
No.
that.
Absolutely not. No, there's no such thing as a stupid
No.
question.
Will you please define intersectionality?
So, like intersectionality would be like I'm a queer person of color.
Mhm.
So being queer and being a person of color,
It's like
or I'm a black person who does drag. So like being black and doing drag. So those drag and being black cross paths. Being queer and being black cross paths. Things like that. At least that's how I define intersectionality.
Mhm.
I could be wrong. It could be said in many others. So if anybody has any other examples, and I don't want you to don't talk about my friend like that. Don't call yourself a loser. Don't talk about my friend Lady like
Mhm.
that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Uh,
no.
What I know intersectionality as is about feminism, and it's a wave of feminism that is pretty recent, or that at least has become more popularized recently, where we acknowledge every facet of a person and how it facilitates or harms that person, where someone of color and someone that is queer and of color will not face the same struggles as someone that is white and queer or just white.
Mm-hmm.
There's several layers of experiences that add up.
If it is too much of a complex question,
No,
you don't
I
have
get
to-
it now. I had a
Okay,
Google
good.
as well
Yeah.
because I do actually think about it sometimes in I don't think I should be the first person to speak on this. I think but yeah.
I mean, I feel
get
like
it.
we can, unless someone else wants to go first.
I can try.
Yeah.
I mean, intersectionality, I mean, I think as like I don't know. I said it back in essentially the Asian and Pacific Islander panel. I was going to touch on a bit in the Latin panel as well. But I think I'm pretty much like, I feel like I'm white passing. So like a lot of that is like, I don't really experience what my other brown siblings like go through as much as I do. But as of recently, at least as a non-binary person, going out and actually trying and actually like letting people know that I'm non-binary and having to face correcting people with pronouns, that definitely is impacting my health as of like right now. Because I don't
Like,
know,
do you think it's like awkward facing conflict when you correct
Yeah.
someone's pronouns, but then how do you, I'm not trying to like pinpoint you, Kiyoshi,
yeah,
as like the
that's
one
fine.
person, but like when you have to correct someone, does it feel better for yourself or not so great because you think that that person's going to be like in their head like, rah, 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 how this
I-
person corrected me, so
Yeah.
you know.
I think thankfully because of the non-binary panel, that really helped me like get into like, you're gonna be the asshole. So before then, before that panel came up, I felt I was like that. I was like, I'm just gonna let it pass, whatever, it's fine. I'll try to like DM them later, which I don't. And then it does like linger. It definitely lingers in the back of my head for sure. But now for sure, I think I will just accept the fact that it's gonna happen, and I'm gonna appear like the asshole and just correct them for sure. And also, I guess intersectionality, going back into being white passing, that definitely does mess with my mental health because I feel like I can't talk for like Filipinos, or I can't talk for like Latin or Mexican people because I feel like I'm not a part of those, and that's of course something I touched on a little bit during those panels. But that definitely affects me mentally in trying to be confident in, I don't know, being myself essentially.
I'll give a good example for Lady and for everybody on this panel as well. I am part Latin, and so there's a show here where I live called Leche, where it's an all Latin Hispanic drag show, and I was invited to do it, but I don't, and it's pretty deep in the Latin experience, and so like I didn't have too much experience, but I do love music from that range, and so when I did that, a lot of what I was feeling was people are going to hate me and ask why I'm here today because I don't touch much on that intersectionality of being Black and Latin at the same time. So like in my mental health stance, it was people are talking shit about me. Can we cuss on these panels?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. People are talking shit
I've been
about
doing
me. I can't do these numbers. People are going to think that I'm just like making this up. And so like that was like, instead of just enjoying someone inviting me and like recognizing me for my descent of culture and being Latin and Black, and it just was taking a toll, and then the numbers messed up, and now I'm spiraling about the number, and now I forgot my words, and now I'm spiraling about that. So that's kind of like where I was kind of trying to ask about mental health and stuff like that. So if anybody else does have
Yeah. There's been a lot of times, it's usually in relation to me being fat as well as being a homosexual. For instance, there's been auditions for acting where like I got pretty used to like, oh, like if I'm going in, like it's okay to like be myself to the casting director kind of thing. Like the biggest issue is me being fat. And then there was an audition that I had for a TV show, and the casting director said that the take was good, and then he's like, well, we can't have like two queens in the same room though. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? And he insinuated that like me being gay and like me just being a flamboyant person to talk to off screen was the issue. And I was like, oh, I was like, do you want me to like take another like should I do another take kind of thing, like in the And they're like, no, like you did a good take, but we can't have two queens in the same room. And so I was like, great, well, now my fat's not the issue. I finally got an audition, but now being gay is the issue. God help me. God forbid someone be gay and fat at the same time.
Yeah.
And then there's like all the baby queens in this city, none of them are ever fat because this scene doesn't celebrate plus size people in their club scenes. And so you never see like people feel who are plus size feeling like they're even able to join in. Like, and so like I was one of very few like plus size queens who started out when I started out kind of thing. But you know, there's to everyone I've met, there's like 20 other like skinny drag queens who are joining at the same time. Meanwhile, you know, over 50% of the population in my country is overweight, and it's like something's not adding up. You know, people aren't feeling welcome here for some reason or another. Yeah, and also drag queens, you know, thinking, well, they're like, oh, I'm gay, and I'm like, I understand you're gay, and so am I, but like, I don't think that you realize that there's something else that people don't like me for, if that makes sense.
100%.
And I'm like, you don't have to go to a store and worry about where you're going to be able to find a t-shirt that fits you kind of thing. Or, you know, you can buy tights wherever you want. You don't have to spend 3 times as much online for tights because it's so expensive to get, you know, bigger tights. Yeah, it's just a lot, but you know, you don't fit anything from Amazon kind of thing. But yeah.
I definitely feel you on that. This weekend, go ahead, or Chris, excuse me. Go ahead.
I just want to piggyback on the experience as a fat person and also as someone that has been raised as a woman my entire life. And being non-binary, I've kind of accepted that in my day-to-day life, people are going to approach me as a woman when I don't feel like I fit in that role. And it also shapes my drag because my femme character is just a way for me to put all that stigma on a character. And being fat also doesn't help with my representation of my drag because we have the biggest stages of drag online with very little representation of women, very little representation of fat people in a good light, because we have fat people that participate on drag competitions, but they're never the best character, they're never the best. So we don't have that much representation, and being seen and accepted as a woman in that space, in that drag space, I never feel fully valid in my art form. And it's a lot some days. And I'm just gonna be sappy for a second. But the Stream Queens gave me a huge boost of confidence and self-love. Okay. Because I felt welcome and seen for my arts. Didn't matter if I was fat, if I was a woman or not. So yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying not to also cry, so I appreciate you and like speaking up on your experience. And y'all, I know you stop by my chat in the middle of the night, which is like the beginning of the day for you, so you're always welcome in our spaces. If you ever just want to hang out, or reach out if you just want to hang out. I live in Discords, so if you ever just want to join in and just like say hey, you're always like, we're glad to have you. So thank you for being here. we do have 15 minutes left. I just want to make sure that Kitten and Lucy have a chance to speak on this topic before we move into something that you both actually spoke up about in the group chat about what we want to talk about.
I'm not sure if I can or should speak to this because I've benefited from cis passing white privilege my entire life, and I'm acutely aware of it. And I work at a white minority HBCU, and I live this every day, and I'm always trying to, like, use my privilege that I was, apparently just got the genetic jackpot on when I was just by luck of birth, and trying to pay it forward by doing what I can for other people and amplifying other voices that aren't mine.
Yeah. Kitten, do you feel the same way? You don't have to speak on it if you don't want to.
I mean, I very much feel the same way. I do feel like, all queer people at some point in their lives are unfortunately the subject of bullying, and that is going to cause some form of, this probably isn't the right word, like psychic damage.
Oh, it's absolutely the right word.
Oh, okay.
I do want to, lady, if you don't mind, I do want to touch base on your comment. I'm not trying to cater, but I feel like you and I have had conversations like this in the past before. But this weekend, I was out going around, and someone was like, "Hey, I wanted to talk to you about your drag, and I hope you're not offended." And I'm like, "Okay, what's up?" And they're like, "I think that your drag can be improved if you wore a corset." And I was like, what are you talking about? I can dance as hard, jump off bars into the splits just as much as the next person who may not be the same size as I am. So why does the drag scene need to feel like you need to have everybody look the same? And so when you had mentioned people are always celebrating skinnier drag artists, I think that we just need to stop bringing up topics to all types of drag artists and what they should and should not be doing, because drag is very different for everybody and it should all be accepted. And so I really just wanted to touch base on that in this chat, because it does take a lot to get in drag for everybody on all types, but it also you don't need to comment about what you think that our drag should look like. So I wish that if people are in this chat watching this panel today, it does take a mental toll on how people react to our drag, but it also is fun for us to do. So please, if you have comments like that toward drag artists of any walks of life, please don't do that, because it does take a toll on our mental health, and this is fun for us, and we don't want you to ruin that. So I'm just putting that out there for everybody to say. Sorry for that random rant, but yes. So moving forward, we wanted to talk about stigmas. I think that's something that everybody in this chat really wanted to talk about, but I lost the question where we did talk about it. Crap. I'm so sorry, y'all.
Was it what role
No, go ahead, Lucy.
Was it what role did media and pop culture play in perpetuating or challenging mental health stereotypes? That stigma?
Yes,
stigma.
It was that one.
Okay.
There it is. What role does media and pop culture play in perpetuating or challenging mental health stereotypes? Which is kind of something that I just talked about right now, and how Drag Race, this is literally what I'm talking about, is people are on Drag Race and people watch Drag Race so much that I think that the world thinks that whatever you see on Drag Race is what drag needs to be all the time, when local drag is not the same as Drag Race drag. It's a reality TV show that's not real. That motherfucker on the plane back there is not real. And everybody came from local drag before Drag Race, and so that's a huge part of media and pop culture that is ruining people's mental health, because people are comparing local drag to Drag Race drag. And so if there's any types of other media pop culture stereotypes that are perpetuating challenges with mental health, this is the time to talk about it. So if anybody has any opinions on that. And I think we have time for one question after that. So go ahead.
I think I just gone beyond from being bitter about it to I really just can't be fucked about it anymore. The last season of Drag Race I watched, not including the Oops All Winners season, was season 8, and then I just like, it's the same. It's just same with different names, and I just they're talented, yes, but this is a not scripted reality competition, and it's like, okay, I'm never going to be these people. I'm never going to compare to these people. I don't give a shit about these people. I do drag in my own way. If you don't like it, fuck off. That's your problem.
Yeah. Is there any other type of pop culture or media perpetuating challenges with mental health stereotypes? Like anything that anybody can think of? Besides Drag Race?
Do you mean things that? Sorry, Catherine.
Oh, no, go ahead, lady.
Sorry.
Oh,
do you,
anybody?
I was just asking about the question. I'm sorry. Do you mean
It could be like
characters that are
like portrayal,
showing stereotypes, or do you mean things that are affecting mental health?
Yeah.
Characters, or like what role does pop culture and media
All
play?
over. Okay.
All over, yeah. So like rap.
I just watched, unfortunately, I just watched Exorcist Believer and 2020 goddamn 3, and there's still a movie where, Tent City homeless people, they're the bad guys, they're evil, don't go near them, when they're in fact the most likely to be the victims of a crime are the ones to actually do the crime. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, we're still doing this. David Gordon Green, really?
Well, that's another topic for another day. But before we got up into it, you also had something you wanted to say as well.
Well, I hope I didn't misunderstand the question. Mine was kind of about some representation I've seen recently of some good representation for mental health I've seen in some shows. And the fact of the matter is, I guess I go back to this one tweet I saw where it's like everyone's asking for good mental health representation until it's not glamorous or really completely palatable.
Yeah.
A good example, because I think this was the one I used in a tweet. It was about the Fiona and Cake series, and it was about how Fiona herself definitely seems to show signs of depression. Like she has an unkempt apartment, she hasn't washed her clothes always, and it's a lot of people jumped on and said oh, she's being dirty, she's not being clean, but the thing is it's like she just doesn't have the mood for it. But there's also shows like Steven Universe. All the shows I watch are cartoons. Oops. Where we get some representation of the complex stages of grief, and how even if it's been years, grief can definitely still affect you, that sort of thing.
Another example that I look at is when I ask this question is when you're in a movie and someone's like for example in the Marvel movies, Thor was depressed, so they made him gain weight, and then he grew out his beard, and then his hair was all scraggly. Is that a way that we want people to understand what depression looks like, or mental illness looks like? Because I'm that's just a glamorous way to make it palatable, like you said. And I just think that's kind of gross, because it's not what someone who is going through depression always will look like, so it's also
especially
kind of,
I don't think that
offensive.
Depressed people would generally put on a fat suit, but
yes, no, yes, 100%. And see, that's what, so I don't like things like that, because I'm that's just gross on Marvel's part for making that. But they're well, then how else are we gonna get mental health across from people? I'm well, what are you actually advocating for? Are you just doing it because this buff man is going through a moment in time and he's gained weight? Because I don't think that's something that needs to be,
And to compound it, he gets over his depression not through actual therapy or meds. He gets through it by believing in himself. I can rationalize my mental health too.
Just have a glass of water, Lucy.
Yeah. And you try not doing that.
just don't have problems. What's so
Have you
hard
tried
about
not being a mutant?
Did
Very,
you
very
try
bad.
going outside? Did you try like
Just see the
watching a
sun more.
movie?
Just
Yeah.
smile.
It's all in your head.
Yeah, so yeah, that is something. That is something I hear a lot actually. So I do have about time for one more question, if I'm correct on the time frame. We didn't get to every question because, you know, like I said before we joined this live panel that talking about this could go on for 24 hours. But like, what is a piece of advice that you would give to somebody, or like yeah, what would a piece of advice be you give to somebody who's also maybe going through low mental health spoons, high mental health spoons, any type of advice you want to give to somebody, like it's gonna be okay, you know what I mean? Like you know, anything at all.
A no is free, to quote John Waters. It doesn't take anything away from you. And one thing that I've sort of come in to realize, and I'm just now telling myself, is actual imposters don't get imposter syndrome. That's the most forward way I can put it.
Yeah.
What do you mean on that? I'm curious now.
I for like the last several years I was like, you know, oh, how when am I going to get fired because they realize I'm a fraud at my job and I'm not actually good as anyone else, or like like, you know, the imposter syndrome, like I'm not good enough to be here, or even like when I first joined Stream, it's like, oh, there's no way I'm like good enough to be in Stream Queens. There's no way I could ever fit here. I could ever do a panel. I was like, one of these days I'm going to realize how much of a fraud I am. I'm like, I'm not a fraud. I'm actually kind of kicking ass. And the fact that I'm so worked up over thinking I'm not good enough just shows not that I'm bad, but how hungry I am that I know I have potential to do more if I push myself.
Period.
So
Point blank.
if you get imposter syndrome, that's almost guaranteed you're not an imposter.
An imposter knows that they are one.
Yeah.
Someone that is not an imposter will ask themselves a question because they're doubting themselves. My advice to anyone that is going through mental health problems or challenges, just be kind to yourself, because there's no one meaner than ourselves towards ourselves. People around us love us more than we think.
And we love you. We love you. I'm gonna message you after this. We're gonna hang out.
Aww.
Kyo?
I definitely would say take a deep breath, first of all. And depending on the situation, if it is something that involves like someone else, as hard as it is, try to engage with them and ask questions, because it just anxiety wise, it's just gonna keep bothering you. Also, just I don't know. I would just say deep breaths and just remind yourself that no one doesn't hate you. Stop assuming things about people. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I could think about right now. I like quick advice.
Kitten, bestie.
I mean, I guess all I can say is that, you know, I guess probably I myself probably need to hear this a lot of days, but to everyone out there who's struggling, know that you do matter. You are important. You are loved by a lot of people, and there are people there for you. And it's not a bother to them for you to be all right, for you to say that you're not all right. And even a day is just a day, and tomorrow can always be a better one. And we'll make it through this.
Lady, what about you? Any piece of advice?
I would say it's important to look after yourself, and that for instance, what helped me the most was therapy, but actually being allowed therapy was something that I had to work a lot for, as I was in a household that didn't, it was a no-go zone. And so I had to move out, and then I was around people with a lot of stigma surrounding that. So I always want to encourage others to look for therapy. There are, you know, cheap or free options out there. Just look after yourself. I'm not good at this part. I'm sorry. Look at
Well,
do you're a star, and look. I didn't think about this question. I'm sorry.
no, you're fine.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
It was good.
100%.
Yeah.
It's good.
Doing
No,
great.
yeah. Yeah.
It was good.
It's
You do know what you mean.
I do think it's important to surround yourself with good people. Again, like mentioned earlier, not everybody's going to like you, but I think that we should focus on the people that do appreciate you and make the time to be around you, and less focusing on the people who you're worried about negatively. And like also like look after yourself. Is that kind of what you're trying to say, lady? Like,
I think so. I think I'm also trying to say, like, don't let the stigma or like anything around or the fright or nervousness of therapy stop you from getting the help you deserve.
period.
I also want to add just real quick that like just be real with yourself too. And that's the hardest thing to do, but if you're real with yourself, you'll be able to move on and grow from there.
100%.
That's cutting off toxic family members and friends.
Very that as well. We have like 2 minutes to do some goodbyes. I do know that there are some people that wanted to talk about some questions that they had brought up in the chat. We were able to get to them in time, and I apologize, specifically to you, Lucy, and you wanted to talk about like medications, prescriptions, and that importance. But I do recommend, before we do go, to follow every one of these creators so they can continue to tell their stories about mental health, if they're willing to talk about it on their streams, because there was a lot that we could have talked about, but you know, we are in the middle of a panel, in the middle of a con, so we want to make sure everybody has their allotted times respectfully. So now that I've talked for 30 seconds, there is 1 minute left to do goodbyes. So we will start quickly with Chris.
Yes.
Where can we find you? Do you have anything coming up besides getting up for work?
So twitch.tv/roselred. I highly encourage people to talk if they need to on my stream. I want to create a safe space where I am whenever I can. So if people need to talk, I'm here.
Awesome. And then Kiyoshi.
Hi everyone, my name is Kiyoshi Yorha, pansexual non-binary drag king here on Twitch, and yeah, I'm honestly learning to be more myself and actually letting people see me for like the first time, like in forever. But definitely, I would love to definitely talk to people within boundaries. So you can go at twitch.tv/Kiyoshi Yorha for that.
Awesome. Lucy.
Yeah, I'm Lucy McGillicuddy. I'm the hostess of Shady Gaming on Twitch and YouTube. It's a rotating cast of drag kings, queens, and in-betweens, because all drag is what? Valid. I stream every Monday, Thursday, Saturday, 8 p.m. Central. I also am the host and dungeon mixtrix for Stream Queen's D&D actual play show, Wigs and Wyverns, Season 1, Never Sunday in Barovia, every Saturday at noon Pacific, 2 p.m. Central. And if you want to catch up, go to my YouTube, or Stream Queen's YouTube, and there's a playlist of all the old episodes so far on my YouTube. I have it, just linked there. It's right between my ultimate playthrough and my playlist called Songs of Showcut Stepdad 2.
Nice. Kitten.
Hi. Well, bye. You can you can find me at twitch.tv/kittentiramisu. I try to stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Because it's December, we're going through, cozy winter games, or at least trying to find them. PS Plus does not offer a lot, I've learned. But anyway, thank you for having me. And yeah, I like to think you're in for a great time at my stream. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And Lady Lay on the tele.
Yeah. Bye everyone. I'm Lady Lay. You can find me at It's Lady Lay. That's Leidy space Lei. It's not a space on the socials though, is it? No, because you can't have a space
No,
on
underscore.
the social handles. So it's actually just ITSLEITYLEI. I don't know. Fine. There's a dynamic follow.
Yes.
I love you so much. You're my favorite. I'm Lennon Bradshaw. I was your moderator. Y'all know me. A Black drag partner on Twitch. Sunday, Tuesday, Thursdays is when I stream. Taco Tuesday is my favorite day of the week. I'll see y'all later. Have a good night, y'all.
Thank you,
Free
London.
Palestine.
Thank you, everyone.
Free Palestine.